Hey there, this is Chase from the Should Run with Gas podcast and the Cast Iron Curiosities YouTube channel. What you're about to listen to is a series that Kyle and myself recorded at the Coolsprings June 2023 Engine Expo. We're calling this series the Tales From Coolsprings, and we sat down with a few people and did some interviews. This is the first installment of that, and it is with the founder of the Coolsprings Engine Museum, Dr. Paul Harvey. So kick your feet up for about the next 45 minutes, lend us your ear, and I hope you enjoy. I do want to apologize. The audio on this may be a little iffy with a lot of background noise. We were in a working museum with engines and all kinds of things running, and the show was going on with people walking around us. So there is a lot of background and mumbo jumbo, but please understand, this isn't how all of our content is. And these are special to us, the people that we were interviewing, we look highly up to. So take 45 minutes and stick with us there, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
All right, this is the second installment of the Should Run with Gas podcast here at Coolspring Power Museum in Coolspring, Pennsylvania. My favorite place on earth.
Well, I guess my favorite place on earth, too.
We have with us right now, we got Paul Harvey, Dr. Paul Harvey, the founder of Coolspring, the Engine Museum.
Yep, certainly am.
Paul, can you tell us or the listeners or whatever, how did this start? How did you get into this?
Well, my dad was a mechanic, and way back then the road came right through Coolspring.
Right.
And he had the building up there at the entrance was his service station. He sold Amoco gas, did car repair.
Right.
Had a little store, sold auto parts. So I sort of grew up in the garage.
Right.
And he was a great teacher, taught me this and that, and how to work on machinery, and
right.
I just loved this stuff.
Right.
And along about 1958, I found this odd little machine, which was a gas engine. It had two flywheels on it. Odd thing. So, as it turned out, I asked my dad, and the old gent that had it wanted $5. So we bought it.
Right.
And that winter, he and I took it all apart and cleaned it up, and he explained everything to me and put it back together, and gosh, it ran.
Right.
And it was a horse and a half Hercules, and we still have it.
That's the one that's up in the front window.
It's in the window of the machine works.
So that's what started it all.
That was the little engine that started it all. Yep.
Wow.
And I had found a couple others, two-horse Whitty, and now we're talking about 1958.
Right.
So there's a lot more of this stuff sitting around in local junkyards and people's barns than there is now.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. Wonderful time. And then I went off to school and got pretty busy, and I really didn't have any time for it. So didn't forget it, but everything just sort of went on hold.
Right.
And finally, in med school, West Virginia University at Morgantown, the third year, I was doing an elective and I had some time.
Right.
So instead of going to football games and things like that is a waste of time to me.
Right.
I would head out west of town, and that was the old oil field.
Right.
And I remember the first oil well I stopped at, and here is this huge gas engine. Never saw anything like it.
Right.
It was a 20-horse Bessemer.
Right.
But I spent a lot of interesting time whenever I had a little bit of spare time exploring the oil field.
Absolutely.
So I came back and set up practice. Then my dad and I built the Founders Building, which was 12 by 20 at that time, and a couple engines, and gosh, that's all we ever going to want.
Right.
Ran a 14-gauge wire to it and a gas pipe, and had a reed in there, and an international, and a couple other little engines. And then you find more, more, and then more, and then I got to know Dr. John Wilcox.
Right.
And we became friends and did exploring, and pretty soon, 1971, we needed more space, so we built the what we called the Big Barn for years.
Okay.
It's a Power Tech building now, but then we outgrew that, and gosh, more added.
Right.
John was spending more time in Coolspring and working on engines, and I had a patient, the name of John Klein, who was the superintendent of the Pittsburgh and Shawmut Railroad diesel shop, say to me, "Oh, why don't you think of having a show and having an organization?"
Right.
This was 1976. So I said, "Well, John, I don't know, but why don't you do it?" And he said, "I will." So he was the first president of the Coolspring Hidden Miss Engine Society.
Okay.
Or as we called it, the Coolspring Eating Society, because it seems like that's what we did most of the time. But anyway, that was fun. And it was very loose. We had the first little show in 76. By 85, we saw that we had to do something and become more organized.
Right.
We incorporated the nonprofit organization Coolspring Power Museum
In 1985.
in 1985. So this today, we're sitting here at our 38th annual show as the museum.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I want to make it sound bad or anything, but I was born in 1986.
Darn kids.
Nice
Well, I'm a
88.
1944 model.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
So, you guys created this. It's the world's largest internal combustion museum.
Yes.
You guys created it, and we're talking back here in the 70s, in the early 80s and stuff. You're running across the countryside gathering up engines. What was your favorite experience gathering an engine up?
Yeah, boy.
I'm sure they were all fun.
Yeah.
I'm
sure there's
interesting
multiple.
at some point.
Yeah, I can say it wasn't my favorite experience, but the old oil fields, there was still a lot of equipment they would get for junk.
Right.
Maybe this they have given. So I think I was stuck like in the mud in every oil field in western Pennsylvania retrieving an engine.
Right.
You could drive in, get it on the truck bed, and start back out, and
And you did a lot of this, loading a lot of the larger engines just by winching them up on a winch truck and hauled them on just a flatbed, correct?
Right. It started with a 46 Rio, and it was just a flatbed winch truck.
Yeah.
So I used big pipes to load it. And then I got an old Tandem International that had a homemade tilt bed on it.
Right.
And that just made the biggest difference. I could haul more weight. The International was underpowered. It had a little 308 gas engine and a 5 and a 3, but I like I got a lot of enjoyment from hunting, exploring the oil field, learning what's out there. We didn't have the internet, so you'd find a new engine and, it was just word of mouth to try to find out much on where it was built and what it was.
Yeah, you actually had to do research, like legitimate research, go to the library or whatever it was to try to find some documents.
Yep. Eventually do that. I enjoyed the rigging. And I don't think I would have done it any different, but we're even getting to restoring things now that I dragged home back in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
If I hadn't dragged it home back then, we wouldn't have had it. And maybe it turned out to be rare enough that it wouldn't exist.
Right.
So it was the guys like you and John that a lot of this stuff exists that was saved, because you and I both know that it would have went to scrap, or somebody would have got
pushed
it
over the hill and covered up in the landfill or the dump.
or somebody would have saved it and they wouldn't have given it the care like it's gotten here.
Yeah.
So
It was good to save it, and that was one thing. John taught me a lot about rigging, but pretty much we did a lot with simplex jacks, bars, pipes, pipe wrenches to turn the pipes, using the pipes as rollers, that kind of thing.
Right.
We did a lot of manual things. 1970, I got Johnny, which we still use here every day, 2020 John Deere with a bucket loader on it. So here at home, all of a sudden we had a tractor that we could chain over the bucket and lift some things. But still,
that was
the
a
big
game
things
changer
we
then.
did by walking rollers, and it was fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was fun.
me and Kyle have discussed this because we've rescued engines, and like you said, the hunt.
Right.
The hunt is the fun part. You get it and you have it, and it's fun to have it. But the process of finding it and acquiring it and then getting it home has always been what I've enjoyed.
The hunt is. Excuse me. The hunt was a lot of fun, and the collectors today. Bless them, but gosh, they're just not experiencing. There's a few of us old ones. John is gone. Mike Foucault is one of the old ones. He's here today. Roger Kriebel's one of the old ones that we actually went out and this equipment was running.
Yeah.
You could. I could have taken you this afternoon, 50 years ago, up to the Titusville area and shown you probably a dozen gas engines that were running and pumping.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Nobody knows that stuff would have existed if it wasn't for here, and you're seeing how the displays are set up here. You don't just have just the engine here. There's so many people that have put stuff together here of, the engine and the power and the shackle line, or all the pumps, like the Otto, and having a pump with it. It makes more sense to have it all together.
Yep.
It's like the Windy City building. It has the desk that come out of the office or whatever of the building inside the building still.
And our machine works. The addition on that is the real office from Star Station in Ohio.
Yeah.
That was a crude oil pumping station. I've got to tell you a little story about
absolutely.
John. One of the first times that he came up and spent a weekend up in western Pennsylvania with me, and we had planned to go out and explore the oil field and all that. So we were driving north up through Brookville, and John said, Paul, have you ever seen the waterworks here in Brookville? And he said, waterworks is sometimes have gas engines.
Right.
I said, never thought of it, John, but I said, I know where it is. So I said, well, turn around and drive up. There's a lot of fishing up there by the dam and all that. So we went up and parked, and it's this beautiful buff brick building, and nothing was running at the time, but it wasn't fenced off, and we walked over and looked through the window, and I'm thinking, there's a big engine. All of a sudden, John is jumping up and down, making funny sounds, clawing at the doors, running around in circles, wiggling everything.
He wanted in.
There's the 175 Otto, pristine, sitting still on standby, which turns out to be the really largest single-cylinder engine in the world, and it's here at Coolspring, but
10 miles from you, you didn't even realize.
He just has to get in, and he said, Paul, how do we do this? I said, don't know, John. I said, the building looks locked. And he's running around and up and down, and he never did get in that evening, but he stayed over an extra day and came back or went up, and as it turned out, they were getting ready to scrap the engine.
Oh, no kidding.
And the easy part was that he bought it for $1. But the hard part was that he had to completely dismantle it to get it through the doorway and haul it piece by piece on his old 2-ton International all the way out to Ohio. So he met trip after trip up here.
Wow.
But then finally the Otto came back to Coolspring, and
here it is.
Yep.
So when John had that in Ohio, did he reassemble it and have it running in Ohio, or did he?
No, he cleaned it all up. He didn't put the flywheels back on, but he had the main frame all cleaned up, the brake-work clean on it.
Right.
The Waterworks green paint off and down to the chocolate brown Otto.
Right.
And
that's the original paint then.
And that's the original.
Okay.
Paint. Yep.
So it was painted that ugly industrial green that everything was painted in.
Oh yes. Yep. But I can just see John yet. No, like, what are you up to?
Speechless. Like, no, I never got the opportunity to meet John. I probably ran across him, in passing once or twice.
Right.
I never sat down and talked to him. I really wish I would have.
Yep.
He pulled quite a few engines out from around my house.
Okay.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm in Black Run, Ohio. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some stuff here that I'm jealous it's here because I know where that came from.
Right.
Yeah.
The 40-horse Foose that's over in the
Powerhouse.
Yeah, Powerhouse.
Yeah.
That come out of Lewisburg, Ohio. And that's 4 miles from my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, it's amazing, knowing where this stuff come from and knowing where it's at and what it's doing now. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to have the history on all this stuff too, how the plaques are set up, and there's actually a story.
Oh yeah.
If you take 2 days, I don't think you could walk to every building and read everything.
Right.
I don't think it's enough time.
I don't think so.
How many engines are here, Paul? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Lost track.
We kind of say 350. But
Okay.
yeah.
Or so. And how many of those 350-ish have you personally been involved in and bringing here?
Probably 3/4 of them.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. So you've been doing this a long time.
I unfortunately never was a machinist. I
Right.
never learned that. So in engine restoration, I had to stay pretty much with what the oil producer used with the pipe wrench, the hammer, or the chisel.
Right.
But, we were talking a little bit. This is something you can identify with, Kyle.
Yeah.
How engines came about. When I was in school at Morgantown, I had an old International four-wheel drive pickup,
Right.
3/4 ton, and good old truck. So I got to know some of the local people on South Canton.
Right.
And asked them if they had any engines that they'd want to sell or available or whatever. And they said, oh yeah, they said down on Route so-and-so, we have a tool yard. And said, we have a little engine and pump in there. And they said, it's in a 3-sided shed, there's a pipe rack. So
Right.
he said, it's about your truck bed height. He said, how about $10? And he said, you can go down. So that was during the summer, and one night after class, I thought, he said that I can back right up to it and pull it on the pickup I used to come along.
Right.
So I went down, and there it is, and backed right up to the pipe rack and the shed, except he didn't tell me what all was in front of it.
Oh, man.
So it was in the middle of the night by the time I got back to my room in Morgantown. I had the engine on the truck.
Which engine was it, Paul?
The Low National Transit you're restoring right now.
Oh, that same one.
Yep, that one.
That thing is so close to being done. I was wanting to have it here, but
That was that engine, and it was so it was. They obviously had pulled it out of a station or whatever.
Right.
It wasn't. I didn't get it from current use.
Right.
It was just like, yes, like you said, it's up there. It's truck bed height, easy to pull across, but.
Getting to
it. All the stuff in front of it. It is heavy.
well, see, and I'm appreciative of that, and I appreciate that story because I acquired a National Transit just like that engine, and I was missing some parts, and I kind of borrowed some parts from you,
Right.
to get mine going, and then in return, I'm restoring your engine to make running for the museum.
Right.
And that's the deal. That's how it works.
Right.
So hopefully here in the fall we'll have it here running, and everything will be good. Another thing we've been working on, Paul, you've been working on the big diesel central building.
Diesels,
Centralia?
we call it Centrale.
Centralia.
And in Austria, that's the way it's pronounced. In English, it would be Central.
Right.
And I came up with that name. There's an existing preserved powerhouse in Austria.
Okay.
That is the Diesel Centrale.
Okay.
And it contains yet 8 400 horse 4-cylinder air injection diesels and dynamite.
Right.
It doesn't run. Excuse me, it's not open to the public right now, but the panel boards, everything, they maintain the building, everything is intact.
Right.
So that's where I got the idea of that name.
So, and you purchased yourself the Gratz diesel to put in there, the air blast?
The Gratz is owned by myself, Peter Knight, and Tom Stockton.
Okay.
Right. A good friend of ours, Dr. Friedrich Busch, who is a hematologist, another one of these medical people that turn out engine heads,
Right.
but is probably the expert of the German diesel, and especially the air injection diesel, had this Gratz but he also had man.
Okay.
And we have what would be a little bit earlier than a man, the Augsburg here. So 4 of us went over to Germany in 2019, spent some time with Dr. Bush,
Right.
and learned how to run the man. And we all looked at the Grots, but he didn't say anything about overselling it, so unfortunately we didn't pay that much attention.
Right.
And then the next year he contacts and says, I got to change things around. I want to sell the Grots. I'm giving you first chance at it. Here's what I want for it. It's like, ooh.
Right.
But
How many opportunities do you get to own something like that?
right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful engine. It is 1904. It was built under the 1903 Augsburg license. It's serial number 19. It's 12 force vertical air blast.
Oh, wow.
It is very similar, the Augsburg, except the Grotz is hard to say, but maybe prettier.
Right.
It has more finished work. The governor is all finished and exposed.
Right.
And it's a little beefier frame. You look at the man and you see you see what would be a 20-year-old model.
Right.
Thin and trim and pretty.
Right.
You look at the Grots and you see Brunhilde, the opera singer, and, something that is substantial.
Yeah, something that'll keep you warm at night.
Right.
What was the process of getting that here? I know Jonah
we were all
went
ready
over.
to go over, and even to the point of having airline reservations, and COVID hit.
Yeah.
And that set us back 2 whole years.
Really?
So finally, last summer, Mike Murphy, Tom Stockton, and Jonah Close all went together because Dr. Bush wanted someone to come over and help with the dismantling of it.
Right.
So we learned a whole lot on shipping an engine. We had to get and without Dr. Bush's help, we wouldn't have. He did all the local contact.
Right.
We had to have a rented forklift, and we had to have the shipper. And then I did the legwork over here and contacting the agent in New York City that would receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And last fall, one nice day in November, and I was notified that was the day it was coming. This tractor in container, 40-foot container box, pulls in. Kenny Uplinger had taken the day off. Bo Fox had taken the day off to get it unloaded. The driver was a super good guy. He worked right with them, and we had all these crates that were secured inside. That container could have rolled and rolled and rolled. Nothing would have ever moved away. That container was back.
So it's very secure.
Yeah. So we realized that it was all comfort and preservative. We're just starting to open the crates now. They were inside my storage building across town for the winter.
So the engine is here, and
The engine is here. It's right across town in my truck garage.
Okay.
And right now it looks like a bunch of big plywood boxes.
Right.
Yep.
What's the timeline that you have hope to have it back together? Is there a set, like maybe a goal in mind of when it's?
We're hoping by fall show. Mike Murphy, Chris Austin, and some other ones hope to have all the equipment in and reassembled and down to doing the nitty-gritty on the pipe work.
Plumbing and
the plumbing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, the building it's going to go in, what was the inspiration for that? Because that's a very elaborate brick building. Is it modeled after the one in Austria?
It's modeled after the big diesel centrale and all.
Okay.
With the arched windows, the terracotta roof, the bricks.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal.
I don't want to say it looks out of place. It doesn't, but you know when you look at that building, it's different from the rest. And
Right.
as ornate as it is, it really draws your eye to it. And like, I wonder what's in there.
Right.
And then what is going to be in there eventually is
Something
substantial.
awesome. Yeah.
So
Well, it will have the Augsburg, which is a 12-horse air injection, 1903, serial number 185. It will have the Gratz, which is 12 horsepower, 1904. And it will have the Benz, which is 12 horsepower, 1915. So the Benz is solid injection, and it's actually in the building right now.
Right.
yeah,
That was a United States engine. Buckeye Pipeline had that at their Reed station near
Okay.
Lodi, Ohio.
No
Okay.
kidding.
And I took that out years ago.
Right.
And it sat here, and Gordon Jones did the restoration on it. But it shows it's basically a single wheel, a vertical, German technology. It was built in Germany, and it has the agent plate that was the sole importer of it. And
Right.
Buckeye had built
That's amazing.
bought 3 of them.
Wow. Well, do you know what happened to the other two?
One came apart. The pieces are saved. And the other one is in Florida and running.
Oh, really? So they're all still
And
kind
I've corresponded with him, and he sent me some videos
Okay.
of it running.
So all 3 of them are accounted for.
They're all 3 accounted for.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
And he was the one that acquired the parts.
Right.
So
So now, not only just engines. I mean, not talking gas engines. You mentioned your truck garage. You collect old trucks, then. Tell,
well, yeah.
I mean, you can't just collect just one thing. I mean, I collect engines, signs, lanterns. I collect all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
Tell us something about what do you collect, Paul? I mean, engines, obviously.
Right.
Trucks.
And trucks, I have quite a few old typewriters.
Right.
Used to be able to get a nice typewriter for 25 cents at a flea market.
Right.
I dragged a lot home then. I guess that's about it.
Just
Right.
Yep.
just anything mechanical, really.
Yep. Anything mechanical.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
My uncle was a trucker, Bruce Coker, Uncle Bruce, and he kept his trucks up at my dad's garage. My dad did any repair work and maintenance work and all that, and I just love those trucks. He had a green R190, 1956.
Right.
450 gas engine and a 5 and a 2. And when I was 17 years old, you didn't have to have DOTs or anything. Uncle Bruce said, "Okay, bud, time for you to learn how to drive this." So, always with him, but I started driving his truck and pretty soon pulling a trailer with it.
Right.
And
And moving everything else.
it was
So him teaching you
this
gave
is
you
okay.
the opportunity to be able to drive truck and be able to haul this stuff. So
Yep.
it sounds like a lot of stuff in your life happened for a reason, and it was meant to, it almost sounds like it was meant to be.
It was like a gigantic puzzle.
Yeah, and it all came together, and it became this, which is amazing. Did you ever think that Coolsprings itself would turn into something like this?
No, John and I. This was just going to be John and my playpen.
Yeah.
Yeah, private collection. We welcome guests, and
I think everybody in this hobby does. They like to share.
Yeah. But it was just going to be a private collection.
Right.
But I'm looking back. I'm glad it turned out like this.
Right. So where do you
exposes a lot of people to gas engines?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do here with this podcast. We're just trying to bring some younger people into it, some older people back into it, or everybody has a passion for something. And it seems like everybody has some kind of a gearhead knowledge or some kind of gearhead something in them at some point. Where do you see this going in the next 10 years? Where do you see Coolspring being? What do you want to see it be?
Well,
I mean, I would love to see it grow, but there's so much here that's really awesome.
It seems like the growth is still continuing, but we have so much here already to restore and set up.
Right.
Yeah.
And we think about that at times, but just like the Diesel Centrale building, it's coming along. I think we are going to have to level out and just develop. We have some wonderful pieces that are in storage.
Right. Yeah, bring some of the stuff out and get it going.
I can remember when the snow was sitting down here, the bed plates for it. I got pictures of me, 20 years ago, as a little kid sitting on the bed plate for it. And in my wildest dreams, I thought it was cool that it was sitting there, but it never dawned on me like, hey, this thing's going to get put back together and running, and that I would ever see it run.
Right.
And then a few years, I didn't come. Just life.
Right.
Going through high school and things like that, and was busy. And the next thing I know, I come back, and it's up there. It was almost together except for the flywheel. The pad was poured. The cylinders were there. None of the monkey motion was on it. I'm like, holy cow! This thing is actually going to run, and it blew my mind at that time that there was people willing to do that, and it kind of changed my direction or my thought process. I'm like, if this can be, if a group of guys can do this, imagine what little old me could do just for myself. And it was fun being around like-minded people like that here, and to see something like that 20 years prior was sitting in a field. The flywheels are stacked here, the bed plate was here, something that looked like a yard ornament almost.
Right. And
then all of a sudden, hey, this thing runs.
Right.
It just blows my mind that can happen.
Absolutely. It's 600 horsepower. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a monster.
And I'm glad we have it and we can present it to people. I'm glad the Rolog has his twin.
Oh, yeah.
They were side by side at Roystone Station, and indeed they took theirs out at the same time we were taking this one out. So occasionally we would bore tools back and forth, things like that.
So it really worked out then.
Yeah. But for years before that, anytime I was up northern Pennsylvania, it stopped in Roystone Station, especially before 9/11.
Yeah.
And the engineer, and you just sit there or stand there and watch the snow run.
Right.
I've got to see it running under load, pumping pretty hard.
Yeah.
Which is where I live now. But it was it was never seen to be stressful on the engine, but
Right.
it did. You could tell from the
she was
sound
working.
that it was working.
Right.
You can feel it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's
Now,
amazing.
I guess the big question is, I'm curious, and I'm sure Chase is, and some of our listeners, what's your favorite engine here? It's hard to narrow it down. I know that.
I think I can answer that pretty. I think the 175.
That's your favorite one.
Yeah.
Would that be because of the story, the happy memory you got with that?
There was a lot of happy memories. It was Brookfield's engine.
Yeah.
There was a lot there. It's just freaking big.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, it's just every time I go in there, although it has a competitor, the Marinetta's back now.
Right.
And Justin
That thing is
Jenkins
beautiful.
did unbelievably fantastic job.
Was it worth the wait? I know Justin had it for a little while.
Oh boy, I was getting impatient, but I feel bad because I didn't realize how much he had to do.
Yeah.
He had to make all new heads for it.
I heard, I think you had posted on Facebook and gave a little recap of what was done, and
Oh, yeah.
there was a lot of work that he did.
I was just there watching it run, I don't know, half hour, 40, hour ago or whatever.
Right.
And that thing is just so smooth. It's just like perfect.
Like a sewing machine.
Oh, it's great. And that whole building looks great because you got all the uprights right in the line. You got the Marinette, I forget which one's next to it, and the Westinghouse, and they're all just sitting right there. It's just like a line
Bruce Macbeth.
of power,
yeah.
Well, that engine was the first really big engine I hauled on the old International tandem tilt bed.
Right.
And that was 1971 that I brought it home. So you never worried about DOT or how heavy. You worried about having enough gears to get up the hill.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was heavy, but it was in a mill down in Freeport, which is down near Pittsburgh area.
Right.
And they were the Historical Society that owned the mill at that time wanted to restore the mill to water power and wanted that gas engine out of it.
Really?
So it worked well, and it was my first big rigging to winch that up on the truck bed and think, oh gosh, this is going to be something different driving going home with this thing on. But it was just so worn out. You could see where the heads were cracked and leaked and all that. But, the odd thing was that in the mill, there was this beautiful core box and pattern for the head.
No kidding.
The only pattern there. So, put it in the truck and bring it home. And that's what they apparently were going to
Make new heads for it.
make new heads for it.
Wow.
Yep.
So did Justin use that when he
He
restored?
used that one, and he was just telling me last night that Captel said it was a beautiful path.
Really?
Intricate and
100 years old, and it's still a great
Yep.
pattern.
It's amazing.
That's
Yep.
unbelievable.
It's amazing that was there,
Right.
Yeah.
and you was able to get it.
Yep.
You was able to finish what they started.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. That is great.
Yep.
Well,
That's something else that the group of people here that has come together has saved so much stuff.
and they have so much background. I mean, Paul, you're a retired doctor. You're a family doctor or whatever.
I sent the
Licensed doctor.
Yeah.
There's pilots. There's bankers. There's all kinds of different trades or career paths that all these guys go down.
Yeah.
And this all brings them in together. And it's just like, holy cow,
What is amazing to me is, like you just said, all these different career paths of people that in normal day-to-day life you normally wouldn't socialize with.
Right.
So because we all have a common interest,
Right.
we're all equals, you know.
Yeah.
And you talk to this guy, you know, could be a multi-millionaire. Not that money has to do with anything, but this guy over here could be a multi-millionaire. And you have a Maytag, and he comes over and talks to you about your Maytag just because you're interested in the hobby.
Absolutely.
The gas engine people are very special. The antique car people are a little finicky. Antique truck people are pretty nice.
Yeah.
But gas engine people are just downright.
At least we don't collect horses. Then we'd all be out.
Yep.
We don't be broke.
Well, Mr. Paul Harvey.
While we're still talking a
Talk to
little
me.
bit, just to, I know it seems like recently there's been a lot of comments and inquiries. And as far as the longevity of the museum, I'm going to be 79 in 2 weeks.
79.
Yep. I intend to stay here and bug the new people for a long time.
We hope you do.
But, you never know at that. It's been a good life. But everything is legally taken care of, and that's why we have a board of directors of Coolspring Power Museum.
Right.
That the attorneys have done that with the right legal papers.
Right.
On my demise, everything is transferred over to the management and ownership, including real estate, buildings, rolling equipment like tractors, as well as the collection.
Right.
It will all go on. If I would drop off this chair right now, Murphy would continue being president. The show would go on. It would stay Coolspring Power Museum.
That's wonderful. And you know, without a doubt, that who's in charge and the group of people that are here, this place is going to flourish.
Right.
And it's a lifelong selfless. You're not being selfish about it. You're going to enjoy. Your legacy is going to live on for many, 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 many years.
Yep.
Even after you're gone, and I hope it's no time soon, by no means. But it's going to be enjoyed by thousands and thousands of people. I mean, how else? That's just, you know, how else can you go out with that? You know, that's just awesome.
And I was fortunate enough to visit Anson Museum a couple times in England.
Right.
And kind of happened the same way that the original founder passed away.
Right.
And Chef Challenger is the director, but it's Anson Museum. It continued to grow. It continued to prosper. It's a wonderful place to visit.
For listeners and viewers watching and listening, coolspringpowermuseum.org. You can go on there, check it out. They have links. They have dates of the expos, open weekends.
Yeah, all the events, because there's more than just the engine shows and the swap meets. You have a truck get together, and then tours, non-running tours on certain weekends.
Yeah, open weekends.
And I think you have Boy Scout events too that come in, or at least you used to.
During the summer, during the nice weather, we're open the third full weekend of each month.
Okay.
And our History Day that includes the car, truck, and tractor show is July 15th.
Okay.
And
all the trucks are out here. We usually have people bring quite a few interesting trucks. We never know whether they're going to show up. But that's nice stuff there.
And if our listeners like what they see, and we encourage them to visit Coolspring, make a donation. You know, this place runs on donations.
We are all volunteer. We have no one paid, and we run entirely on donations. We have no government support. We're entirely private. Corporate support, private support,
and it's
individual support, but We have no government intervention.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
Paul, we appreciate you sitting down, taking the
Thank
time
you.
to chew the fat with us.
yeah.
And we know you're a busy man, so we'll let you go, and hopefully we'll see you around the next little bit here, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes, for
Okay.
sure. Well, thank you, Paul. It's been a pleasure talking
It's
to you.
been a pleasure talking with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. So, until next time, go check out our other content and go out and get your hands dirty.